In 1204, a Western Christian army, originally bound for Jerusalem, diverted its march to Constantinople. Instead of fighting for the Holy Land, they turned their weapons on fellow Christians, brutalizing the wealthiest city in the medieval world. The occupiers stripped the city of its wealth. They looted the tombs of former emperors, melted down ancient relics, and defiled sacred spaces like the Hagia Sophia. This fracture erased the traditional geopolitical map. The Crusaders carved out a new territory in the center, the Latin Empire. The surviving Byzantine elites scattered, forming exile states like Epirus, Nicaea, and Trebizond. And sitting just north, watching this chaos unfold, was the resurgent Bulgarian Empire. The greatest city in the world was now held by an unstable occupying force. This sudden power vacuum sparked a 57-year multi-front war of attrition, a conflict where the loudest, most aggressive claimants would ultimately destroy themselves. The Latin Empire made a fatal miscalculation almost immediately. Operating on sheer arrogance, the newly installed Crusaders demanded total submission and territorial concessions from their powerful Bulgarian neighbors. The Bulgarian Tsar, Kalyan, did not submit. Instead, in the spring of 1205, he mobilized his army and marched south to answer the Crusaders' threat. The two forces met near Adrianople. Kalyan used lightly armored Cuman cavalry to harass the Latin front lines. When the Cumans feigned a retreat, the heavily armored Crusader knights broke formation and chased them, running blindly into a massive, hidden pincer ambush. The trap worked perfectly. The heavily armored Crusaders were routed, and the Latin emperor, Baldwin, was captured on the battlefield. He would later die as a prisoner in a Bulgarian tower. By walking into a single trap, the Crusaders permanently crippled their own ability to expand. Their armor could be pierced, their armies could be routed, and the European myth of Crusader invincibility dissolved in the dust of Adrianople. With the Latins severely weakened, the Byzantine exiles in Epirus saw an opening. Under the aggressive leadership of Theodore Komnenos-Doukas, the Epirote state rapidly expanded its territory across the Western Balkans. But Theodore pushed too far. After capturing the highly strategic city of Thessalonica and crowning himself emperor, he grew overconfident. In 1230, he broke a long-standing truce and launched a surprise attack against his Bulgarian allies. The Bulgarian Tsar, Ivan Asen II, saw the betrayal coming. He intercepted the Epirote army at the Battle of Klokonitsa and crushed them entirely. In a single afternoon, the Epirote army was annihilated. Their rapid territorial gains collapsed, and the first Byzantine exile state was permanently eliminated from the race for Constantinople. By the 1230s, Bulgaria was the undisputed supreme power in the Balkans. Operating from heavily fortified strongholds, Ivan Asen II was actively preparing to swallow Constantinople and absorb the remnants of the Byzantine world. Then, in the 1240s, the Bulgarian state suffered a sudden internal collapse. Ivan Asen II died, and a severe plague swept through the region, decimating the kingdom's senior leadership. At the exact same time, a brutal external catalyst arrived. The Mongol Empire pushed deep into Anatolia, winning a decisive victory in 1243 and violently breaking the region's delicate balance of power. Compounding external pressure from the Mongols and a severe lack of internal leadership fractured the nation into a chaotic civil war. Bulgaria had expanded rapidly, but without a clear line of succession, the state lacked the structural integrity to survive a multi-front geopolitical squeeze. By the 1250s, the geopolitical landscape was exhausted. The aggressive frontrunners, the Latins, the Epirotes, and the Bulgarians, had all successfully neutralized one another through decades of intense attrition. This left the Empire of Nicaea. Rather than risking total war, the Nicenes spent 50 years quietly surviving. They used careful diplomacy and slowly built up their resources while their rivals burned out. Meanwhile, the surviving Latin Empire in Constantinople was desperately bankrupt. To fund their basic military defenses, the Latin leadership was reduced to selling holy relics, like the purported crown of thorns, to the King of France. Nicaea's strict patience yielded a massive endgame advantage. Without fighting a single major siege, they had slowly and completely encircled a defenseless Latin capital. In July 1261, a small Nicene scouting force arrived at the walls of Constantinople. They were there strictly to gauge the city's defenses. But when they arrived, they made a shocking tactical discovery. The entire Latin garrison and the Venetian fleet had left the city undefended to conduct a raid on a nearby island. The scouts didn't wait. They snuck through an unguarded gate and ignited the Venetian quarter, triggering mass panic among the remaining occupiers, who fled. Weeks later, Emperor Michael VIII Palaiologos made a formal, triumphant entry into the city, officially restoring the Byzantine Empire. In a chaotic, multi-faction power vacuum, victory rarely goes to the initial aggressor. The city fell to the patient survivor, the one that allowed its enemies to destroy themselves.